everyone, and welcome back to the Dan Cave. So this video is going to be a little bit of a look back at March. We're now into the early part of April, so as I did last month, I'll do a little bit of a look back on what was built during March, stuff that's in progress at the moment, maybe a little bit of look at what was bought, although I did buy quite a lot of kits and I've actually hidden most of them away. But we'll see what we can find. So March has been a really busy month again. Quite a lot done. We'll have a look at those kits that were finished. Subscriber count is also going up the way, and that's thanks in a big part to the shout out from Paul at ISM and Luke from the live crew at ISM as well. Both give my channel a shout out on their live shows, which is really good and really helps kind of grow the amount of people that watch these videos, because without you I'm just a crazy man talking to myself basically. Some might say I'm just a crazy man anyway, but there we go. That's the little introduction. So we'll head on over to the bench right behind me and have a look at the finished kits, and I'll throw up some photos as we go through. So enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe, of course. Leave a comment if you want. Get in touch and I'll answer any comments you guys have. So thanks for watching and enjoy the video. So welcome to the bench again. So I'm going to run through these in chronological order. What was finished in March. So first up was this. So this is the Tamiya 12th scale Ducati 916, and I have to say, this, for me personally, I think this is one of the probably the best things I've built in a really long time. So really enjoyed this kit. It's quite an old Tamiya kit, but went together really well. So the paintwork is TS8, I think, which was decanted and then airbrushed. Pretty much all the other kind of paintwork is using a mixture of Revell, MIG, and probably some Vallejo acrylics. It's been clear coated using Pro Range 2K for the bodywork. I ultimately didn't bother with a clear coat on the wheels or the frame. I quite like the kind of satin metallic finish. So that was finished at the early part of March, but you know, the feedback on that on places where it posted has been really good, and personally I'm really pleased with it. Not perfect. I know there's things I can spot which I would like to improve upon, but overall, I have to be honest, I'm really pleased with this. So next up in March was the B-Max 24th scale Quattro, Audi Quattro S1 Evo 2. So this is of course the Group B car from the mid-80s. Really enjoyed building this. One of my favourite rally cars of all time. A few struggles with this. The body did have a few sink marks which needed a little bit of filler work. Not the end of the world, but you know, it's, you know, for a newer kit that's relatively unusual to have to do, but you know, you do what you need to get finished. So you know, pretty happy with the way that came out. The next challenge, which was mainly introduced by myself, was using Zero Paint's Brilliant White. So it's a really hot lacquer paint. You do need to be quite careful, you know, certainly going over an acrylic primer, because I used UMP white for this. So you need to lay it on quite thinly, which I didn't do. Went down a little bit too thick and had a little bit of a reaction in some places. But with a little bit of sanding, that pretty much cleared up most of the problems. And the clear coat, which is Pro Range 2K again, That did seem to cover up most of the kind of problem areas that I found. There's a few little things I'd like to improve, but overall I am actually pretty pleased with this kit. And it's an Eddie Quattro in the collection, which is fantastic. So that is the Eddie Quattro, which was kit number 2 of March. So kit number 3. So we've had one motorbike, one car, and then kit number 3 is kind of back to probably my roots as a modeler, which is 72nd scale aircraft. So this is the Airfix Fokker Eindecker, which is a relatively new mould from Airfix, a couple of years old. Really nice kit to build. So that's basically the kit. So that was built really, really quickly. Airbrushed with, I think it was one of the Revell Aqua, I can't remember what number, but Revell Aqua dark green. A little bit of kind of masking to simulate the ribs on the wing. Weathered using UMP weathering washes. A little bit of, as you can see on, certainly here, have a look a little bit closer. Yeah, so you can see around here, this is where I've kind of splattered some mud effects, just using UMP mud, I think it was, from their weathering washes. So just flicked it on to give that kind of simulation of how muddy a little aircraft like this would get when it operates on a little field like this. So I thought to display it, I'd have a go with, trying a little bit of kind of diorama vignette type work. So reasonably pleased with it. The kind of 2 water puddles I've tried to create have not really come out how I want them. They were done using just standard PVA. Didn't dry quite as clear as I wanted. So really they would need, one of the kind of realistic water effects, which I'm sure, the likes of AK and MIG do an appropriate medium for that. So yeah, so the little base was built up just mainly using some cardboard, some PVA, and then a layer of polyfiller over the top, which was then airbrushed with kind of dark earth, lighter tones. Very thin coat of PVA to then attach the grass type material. A couple of random little bits of vegetation added, and then I did attempt to do 2 kind of water puddles. So I have added, we'll say, the troughs that a little small aircraft might plough on some wet ground, and yeah, so that gives it a nice little base to sit on and display. So there we go. That was kit number 3. And so for kit number 4 was this, which is the Great Wall Hobbies 144th scale Victor K Mark II. So this was also subject of a video build series on my channel. There's 5 parts available from start to finish. A lovely kit from Great Wall Hobbies. Goes together absolutely brilliantly. Minimal amount of filler. And, some kind of nicely well-defined panel lines. Yeah, a really good kit. Really enjoyable, really simple to build. Painted using Hitaka acrylic paints. I think all the colours came from this set, which is the modern Royal Air Force paint set. So red line is there, optimised for airbrush acrylic paints. Although I would say that the set I have actually came out quite thickly, so they did need a little bit of thinning to go through the airbrush. But yeah, performed really well. Really happy with the colour. For me, it just completely represents, certainly in my mind, what a Victor looked like during the Gulf War operations. And as you can see, it's got the appropriate, I think it's Maid Marian artwork on the nose. So yeah, so really pleased with this. Again, a little bit of light kind of weathering and staining added using UMP washes. A little bit of kind of weathering along the engine pods on the underside and in and around the refuel areas. But kept, relatively light and to a minimum. Because in this scale, I mean, it's very easy to overdo it because it is a really small scale. So a lot of the kind of process for doing this weathering was from looking at kind of reference pictures and looking at how the aircraft were kind of presenting themselves in those pictures. Hence, when you look at the pictures, the panel lines are not that obvious. So, if I were to add a panel line wash on this, I think there would be too much contrast, too much of a stark contrast from that panel line detail. So they were just left as they came out of the airbrush. So yeah, really pleased with that. The Great Wall Hobbies decals performed reasonably okay. The kit, very little problems in terms of fit issues. I think the worst area for fit was probably this horizontal tailplane, which needed a little bit of filler on the underside. Aside from that, spot on, and I can't wait to build a Vulcan, which I've got in the stash, the Great Wall Hobbies Vulcan as well. So that was kit number 4. So the next kind of topic is what's been bought. So I think in total, I bought probably 8 or 9 kits over the last month. So I've grabbed 4 of them just to have a quick look at what's been bought. So we'll talk about one of the other ones, because actually one of the ones I bought is already getting close to completion. So, but we'll talk about that in a second. So this one, the Revell BMW i8. So this was a real cheap bargain on Amazon. Actually, Amazon seemed to be listing kits from Revell Germany. Certainly in the UK, which is where I'm based. They're coming through really cheap. I think this was £22 to buy. Looks a nice little kit. Looks reasonably well detailed. It is a hybrid. The Revell packaging is not ideal, as in the case of this one. The body shell is literally just at the edge of the boxing. So, but the body shell does look reasonably well defined. No kind of obvious flaws. Not a huge amount of sink marks obvious, and not a huge amount of seam lines obvious. So it looks quite nice. Everything's in box. I've not really looked at it in detail, and maybe we'll come back and look at that in a bit more detail at a future point. So, on to another Revell kit, the McLaren 570S. So again, another bargain from Amazon. Really nice looking kit. Again, the way Revell package their kits, I don't like the end opening. Again, everything seems to be in it, molded in a beautiful shade of orange. Probably not the best color if you want to do Carm white, but I don't know what color I'm going to paint this. We'll wait and see. You can see there is probably a little bit of flash around some parts. It'll be interesting to see how well the doors fit, because it does appear the doors can open, or at least are posable, let's say, in this kit. It does seem to have an engine in it as well. Yep, as can be seen on the back of the box. So, another one in the stash. Then, a couple of Fujimi kits. It's got this, the 911 GT3R. So this is basically a kit with no real decal scheme on it, which is probably what I want to do with it, actually. I was lucky enough to drive a GT3 RS a couple of years back at a driving experience thing. So although this is not the same car, it's probably close enough that I could do, you know, a kind of a track day special, shall we say. Just one option I'm considering for this. But fairly simple kit, no engine, so it's a pure curbside kit. Looks like it'll go together reasonably simply. Wheels actually look quite nice on this. But again, that's another one in the stash. Can't remember where I bought this. I think it was Kent Models. But yeah, nice looking kit, lovely looking car. Fujimi. So then another one that's been picked up is this. Again, this is another Fujimi kit, the Mercedes-Benz 190E 2.5-16 Evolution 2. Wow, that's a mouthful. So this is basically the DTM car that Mercedes ran. Really impressed with this, even though it's a curbside kit. Not a huge amount of detail. Not a huge amount of parts, but it does come with both sets of wheels for this car. So I've seen pictures of both sets in use. And again, I'm sure there's decal options available for it, but I quite like the idea of doing this as a kind of a road track day type car. But yeah, lovely car. And really looking forward to that. So, another Fujimi kit. So, another kit that was bought, but actually started and getting quite close to finished in the last month, is this. So this is the Revell Ford Gran Torino. This is a 25th scale Gran Torino. Comes in the Starsky and Hutch color scheme, but I decided to do something a little bit different. So I ended up picking I think it's an original Ford color that was available, and bought some paint from Paint Nuts. So Paint Nuts do car touch-ups. So essentially it's a genuine paint for a car. But thinned heavily with Mr. Hobby leveling thinner. It actually goes down well on a model. So I think the colour is called Ginger Bronze Metallic. So kind of matches my beard colour. But yeah, so this was 2K'd yesterday. So this has to sit for a good couple of days before I can go back and do any sanding, because there is a few dust spots that are kind of visible in various places on the kit. But yeah, really enjoyable kit to build so far. Bonnet was of course also 2K yesterday. I think the bonnet looks pretty spot on. Maybe a little bit of a kind of sand and polish. Yeah, got the mirrors. And a little insert for the between the tail lights, which will pop in around there. So that's pretty close to completion. And that's what the interior is going to look like. So the interior has been done in, I don't know, very 70s tan colour. So it's tan for the dash and kind of seat surrounds, and then it's pretty much a beige colour. And then the striping was just done with a UMP earth wash, I think. The carpet is just dark earth. Sidewalls have been, again, just picked out in the same colours using the same wash. And yeah, very 70s. So looking at kind of reference pictures and looking in the original kind of Ford colour schemes, kind of tan and brown seem to be a an option available, so I went with that to go with the paint nuts color that was picked out. So that's one purchase that's in progress and nearly completed within the same month. So what else is in progress? So in progress we also have the Aoshimi Fair Lady Z 2007 Nismo version. So that is probably going to be a video build. Planning quite an interesting colour scheme for that. Well, hopefully you guys will find it interesting. So that I think the body work is pretty much complete. Just needs cleaning up where the bumpers have been attached. So this is the body. So pretty much. So yeah, so the bumpers have been added, side skirts, and the fender wheel arch trims. So that's going to be painted in, I'm thinking Calsonic blue, which I have left over from previous build, which is Gravity Colors Calsonic blue. So Nissan racing color on a Nissan. And then I'm going to do a decal across the entire roof and across the entire bonnet, which is going to be something I'm going to print myself. And you'll see some details of that in the first part of that build, which will be in the next couple of weeks, depending on how other stuff goes. So that's in progress. That should be done throughout April at some point. And then the final in progress, which is, I'd say, barely in progress, which is another kit that's back to my roots, which is the Revell 72nd scale F14D, which is this one. So looks a reasonably nice kit. It's got, reasonable amount of detail. I'd say the panel lines are little bit probably over deepened, over wide. We'll see how it comes out when it's airbrushed and painted. So I wouldn't say any kind of real work has started on that. I think the only glued parts on this so far is the seats. So I've glued the separate bits together for a seat, so they need to go and get painted and detailed up. 72nd scale Tomcat. I think I've had this kit for a couple of years in the stash. Kind of fancied, building it. Quite like the box scheme. Grim Reapers. So yeah, so that'll be something that'll be worked on throughout April. So that's a quick overview of everything that's in progress, and yeah, so look out for more details of this on my Facebook page. It'll be linked in the description to this video. And generally, if you want kind of, anything that's not a video build, I try and post kind of photos of in progress, etc. on that page. So that is the March review. That's the whistle stop tour of what's been built, bought, in progress, what's on my bench at the moment. So once again, thank you to everyone that's subscribed so far. Thank you to the guys at ISM, so Paul and Luke, who've given my channel a shout out during the live shows. Really appreciate it and really helps. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll reply to any comments that I get. I don't get very many at the moment because I've not got that many subscribers yet, so leave a long list of questions if you want. Ask me anything, modelling related generally, and I'll get back to you. So I hope you've enjoyed this little kind of monthly review. Thanks for watching, and look out for new content in the future. So thank you everyone for attention. See you later.